Welcome back to the channel, y'all. It's your boy Josue here at Josue's Exotics, and I just want to let you guys know we finally reached 300 subscribers. So shout out to all you guys, and shout out to me putting all the hard work in, and shout out to you guys for watching it. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the leopard frog and why they possibly could be the best pet amphibian. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like button down below, and here we go with the video. So to give you guys a little bit of background information about the leopard frog, they are one of the most common frogs found across the whole U.S. They can be found pretty much near ponds, lakes, streams, marshes, but they also can be found in meadows because that's their other name, the meadow frog. Another thing is about these frogs, they're semi-aquatic, which means they live either on land or in water, and a combination of both. So especially with their habitat, which we'll get into later, I'll explain to you what you kind of have to do to take care of that. The northern leopard frog is one of the most common ones that's kept as pets here in America. Most of these guys are probably going to be wild caught, so we'll give you more information about that later. So leopard frogs, they can range in a couple different species, the most common ones being the northern leopard frog being the most common one in the pet trade, and you have southern leopard frogs, and you also have plains leopard frogs. So as far as handleability goes with these creatures, they are not really the most handleable of frogs. They don't really like to be handled, and they're more or less a viewing frog. So an upside to this is they don't have claws, so they can't scratch you or anything like that. They don't have teeth, so you don't have to worry about them biting you. And those are some of the better aspects of why I think they make one of the best pet amphibians. Another thing about amphibians is they have a real permeable skin. Considering the fact that they actually breathe through their skin, majority of the species of frogs, so they don't really need to be handling them in the first place. But alongside with that, they still are pretty cool to look at and watch them hop around and hunt for crickets and other little things like that. As far as lifespan goes with these frogs, in captivity they can generally live for about 2 to 3 years, which can be a plus or a minus depending on what you're looking for in a pet. Generally, I like long-lived pets, but for something for a beginner to actually get them into handling amphibians and just keeping reptiles in general, a short lifetime pet is really not a bad option for you. So that's another good reason why I think these are really good beginner frogs. Hey guys, I just want to stop the video for a second real quick and ask a simple question. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you're not, go ahead and subscribe now and drop a like button if you're enjoying the content. So since you're basically getting the frog for free, I would recommend spending a little bit extra money and splurge a little bit on making your terrarium for your pet frog. So with these guys, they don't really need a whole lot of space. Generally a 10-gallon tank is plenty enough for just one little frog. But if you plan on housing multiple ones together, what I would recommend is definitely getting a bigger tank, like a 20 or 29-gallon tank. Because generally the rule of thumb is with frogs is 10 gallons per frog. So if you have 2, 20 gallons, 3, 30 gallons, so forth and so on. Also, you may need a couple small little things like hides, a little plant decor, and other small little things just to give these guys a little bit more enrichment. The next thing you're probably going to need for your terrarium is probably going to be aquarium rocks, which generally the rule of thumb with those are you want to make sure you get rocks that are big enough that the frogs are not going to be able to inhale or ingest, because these guys are pretty feisty little eaters and they'll eat pretty much just about anything. Since these guys are semi-aquatic, the reason why you want to get aquarium rocks is you're going to need to make a dry side, you're going to need to make a wet side. And they don't recommend using a filter with these guys, they kind of just recommend changing the water out periodically and filling it back up as it dries out, because also I use a heating lamp with mine, just because I like for them to have a basking spot if they choose to bask if they want to. But generally, that's pretty much going to be it. And lastly, another thing you're going to have to do for these guys is actually get them some food. Since they generally feed on feeder insects, I would highly recommend getting used to buying crickets. Because with these guys being as small as they are, they eat pretty much every day or every other day. And with adults, they recommend feeding every 2 to 3 days. So if you're not used to handling crickets, definitely get used to it. It's not hard. You can grab them with tongs, and I always make sure I dust mine with some Rectify before I give them to them. So as far as care goes for these guys, it's going to be relatively simple. As I mentioned before earlier in the video, these guys are semi-aquatic amphibians. So basically you got to have a dry portion, you got to have a wet portion for these guys so that way they can thrive naturally. And I'll put a link to my other video about leopard frog tank setups. It's probably going to be in the top right corner of the video. And you guys can click that and actually go see how to go set it up. But in this video, I'll just give you pretty much a close-up of how I got it set up. And you can go from there and do it however you want to on your own. So for an upcoming video, what I plan on doing is I'm actually going to get a plexiglass divider. I'm actually going to silicone that to the inside of the aquarium. That way I can probably do like a bioactive setup on one side, and then that way I can have a water feature on the other side, and vice versa, flip it around if I want to. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. That's definitely going to be a video coming up soon. As far as humidity goes for these guys, I found the actual humidity range tends to be around 50 to 70%. But if you're going to already have like a water section inside of your aquarium, it's probably going to be just fine, because they like to submerge themselves fully inside of water. So that way they can definitely hydrate that way. You don't have to worry about humidity as much. And as the light requirement, like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to have one. But me, I like to personally use a basking lamp for these little guys, so that way they can choose if they want to warm up or cool down, because reptiles are definitely thermal regulators, and there's definitely videos on YouTube about what happens if you put a frog in boiling water. I would definitely not recommend doing that, or even testing how to do that. But the video is still there to watch. But yeah. So these are just a couple reasons why I think leopard frogs make very good pets. Definitely for beginners, if you definitely want to get into keeping amphibians and other reptiles like that, these are very great starter pets. So why don't you guys tell me what you think down in the comments. So to wrap up today's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and definitely hit your like button if you enjoyed the content. It's your boy Josue here at Josue Exotics, and we're signing off.